Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Do Andrew Conspiracy. I think we're gonna get today's session started as we usually do. A little breathing. We're circling back to the lion's breath. We didn't get quite enough of that, and Dale he muted his microphone. He wanted to be able to participate a little bit more. And I looked up what Simhasana means, and it's very simple. It's just lion's pose. So it's really just a word for a pose, a yogic pose. But we don't need. It's still fun to say. Samasana pranayama. So again, just for those who missed that last episode, is get comfortable. You can sit cross-legged on your knees or in a chair, and kind of put your hands on your knees or the floor. Kind of think like you're a lion, posing, and inhale deeply through the nose, fill up all the lungs, and then exhale forcefully with your tongue out with a ha sound, like you're roaring like a lion. And we could do that probably like 3 or 4 times and come on back. So anyway,
I'm ready to let my lion voice out, Andrew. The world better be ready.
okay. Well, beware of some volume. I'll lean back from my microphone just a little bit. All right, everyone, get comfy and go ahead and breathe in through your nose. I just feel better after I do that one. I don't know. I like it a lot.
That sounds a lot like after a hard night at Dartmouth.
Indeed. Indeed. Excellent. Well, we have conspired. We are co-conspirators. I hope everyone's happy with that. Um, and I'm gonna. Well, do you want to do a poem and then I'll do my North Dakota thing?
No, you go with North
Okay.
Dakota.
So I don't know if you can see my crazy fingernails right now, but they're looking kind of gross. They're I call it my henna nails, but I was out with my father, and we have these trees called choke cherry trees. I know there's a lot here in town, and there's even a choke cherry festival. It's like a whole thing. But yeah, they're a small berry, a little bit smaller than a blueberry, and they have a pretty big pit. So it's like not the juiciest piece of fruit. But the point is, people process them and make pies and jams and jellies and all that kind of stuff out of them. But we were picking some this morning, and then I was squeezing the juice out of it. I got my parents on a kombucha kick, so we're gonna try get them a batch started, and I added some choke cherry juice, so it's choke cherry kombucha, which if that doesn't get any more
Right.
novel than that.
Nectar of the gods.
Exactly, antioxidants for days. Um, but yeah, we were having fun with that, picking the berries this morning, and Willow was under the tree looking up at us, and so that's been nice. And then I went to my mom. She has a little leadership group at her church she goes to, and the topic was generosity. So I can get on board with that. And they were really focused on tithe and that sort of thing. I don't really care about tithe, but I still think it is important to be generous. And you can be generous with time, your energy, your resources, your talents, and of course, money is one of them too. And they all had their stories about being generous, and there is something about being free to extend. It's an extension of love is really what it is. And when you extend love, you often get love in return. So it's not the expectation, but that's generally the reality. So the one lady, she got an inheritance, and she was just like, she would just go up to people and give them cash and be like, Jesus loves you. And I don't know, that was pretty baller to me. And she was really talking about how she would feel these sort of nudges to go up to a certain person, or and be in a certain situation, and being able to listen to that voice. I think is a skill that all of us could continue to work on if we haven't already. And because that's the voice of our higher self or God or source, right? Speaking to us. And that kind of guidance, I think, is helpful as we go through life.
Well, it's definitely true, and it makes me think of what Pedro says. Pedro Deo, my kingdom mentor. But basically, he says, God finds out how much he can trust you by giving you money. You build trust and with God by how you steward the resources he gives you. So personally, I mean, I've always had like a, a subsistence or basic income. I've always gotten through it and everything. And so, but now, especially with what we were talking about with Fred is dead last week, but also just with my own integration of my own self and my own possibilities, the blessings are really starting to come in without me asking for anything. And with that in mind, I'll read a poem about returning to Dale. This was actually written on March 11th. So I think that was basically about the time when I actually went back to THC, the herb, not just the city. So it goes like this. Reflecting upon return of Dale. My bliss is so great I can hardly contain my enthusiasm at having arrived back here at the holiest city after an intense 40 years where I've been traveling through the cosmos, leading ducks in mortal battle against menace of muck no one has yet realized their threat, against the essence of universal vitality, as I lead my forces assembled from the realm of forever in a battle we could not lose because the alternative was inconceivably unacceptable. Truly, because the fire of life cannot be suppressed, as it is the light that once ignited cannot be extinguished, while it is also endless inferno of judgment into which demons have been thrown unknown, to the sleeping human population drowning in a bloody ocean of vapidity warm but deep, and the unawakened can continue to exist in their lack spiritual insight because I've come back from the darkest pits of never.
Okay, man, we're leaving them behind. Yeah. Well, you mentioned lack in there, and that definitely ties into generosity, right? When you're experiencing lack, when you're in survival mode, nothing works as well as it could when you're feeling good and like you got your stuff together and you can attack, feel like you're in creator mode. Uh,
And another thing you mentioned was ties, which I think is very important. Because I haven't given tie. I mean, I basically have I've cut ties with my ties to church because basically I've cut ties to my church. I mean, I'm still on friendly terms with them. I just don't go. I'm reevaluating. Pedro made me reevaluate Jesus and the whole kingdom approach of my own. But anyways, so ties. I really haven't given money to a church for my church even for a long time, but my ties are to my bride, to my Christ bride, and the church is the bride. So, I meant so I meant and this is like people say I'm delusional and everything, but there I got 50 years. Well, actually, that's that's Fred. That's past Fred. So basically, everything up to uh, May 25th, 2025 was past Fred. So Fred is dead. So therefore, that past and everything that led up to it since the birth of Fred in 1947, June 6th, 1947, everything in that time capsule is hereby void and null and void.
Yeah.
So basically, what this is Dude's version of history, but Dude's Commander Dude of Dark Allied Forces, and you know, people say the Q operation has been going since 2016, but actually, the Do operation has been going since Rosedale was cut in half by Fred. So, um, basically, what happened was after World War. Okay, yeah, Americans Americans won World War II, but they won it with the communists. Therefore, this created a big problem. So we had to, and plus it led to Hiroshima and the new atomic age. So basically, what happened was Fred, who was born in 1947, was the dark side of the victory of the Americans, infiltrated by the Nazis and the Germans and the communists. So basically, what happened was Fred was born in 1947 and Dale was born in 1955. And 1975, Dale began psychotic wars with the fascist doctors and all their minions, and that's been going on and with behind the closed doors of Teaneck Hackensack City for the last 50 years. So, and then and then they could Doc had no power to control Dale, and he put Dale in the hospital 9 times in 6 years. They couldn't control Dale, so then they had to bring in Fred, their ultimate bouncer, to keep me under control and guard me. So I meant in a lot of ways, the death of Fred is sort of like the melting of the witch at the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. I can see that.
But on the other hand, that's one point of view, and it's easy, it's easy to say, screw Fred, dump on him and you know, desecrate his memory and everything. But he also, on the other hand, was the M16 Guardian who guarded Dale and Teaneck Hackensack until we could get the genius light back into the Dialina body. And it's not synchronistic that Fred died basically at the moment the Dialina light was reimplanted in the Dialina bodies. So basically, Fred is beyond judgment. Fred was the eternal shadow, or the eternal shell surrounding the light of genius since basically the Dialina was destroyed at Rosedale, and so Fred's just basically sort of like the darkness that surrounds the and inextinguishable light, and the light will shine. And now that Fred's gone, Mock is gone, because they have nothing more to hold back the genius light of the Dialina.
Yeah, and the Earth has been shaking ever since.
I told you we had two earthquakes within 3 days here.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard there's been a lot of seismic activity on the globe, so it's an interesting. I mean, yeah, correlation is not causation, but it's also not. So there might be something there for sure.
Well, actually, after this is the first time King, that King Dewdale has been safely ensconced in his palace in THC in 64,000 years.
Cat.
So basically, I ain't going nowhere for a long time
Yeah.
because every time, someone gets Dale to leave, something bad happens. So I'm that's basically one promise I made to myself is if you want to meet me in person, if you want to talk to me, you can call my Calendly, make an appointment, and we'll talk about live, love, or whatever. But if you want to meet me in person, first off, be prepared to smoke your brains out, and secondly, if you if well that's basically it. And secondly,
Those are the requirements for hanging out with Dew is to get a little toasty woasty.
well,
Those
no, well,
ascended, if you will.
if anyone actually makes it to my apartment, Andrew, I take it as a challenge, and I'm constantly in challenge of and THC, who THC smoking. So basically, yeah, be ready to if you can outsmoke me and make me pass out, and before I make you pass out, then I that's never well that's what happened to Dale at the beginning of creation, and it's not going to happen again.
Phew. Well, I won't attempt to smoke you out, Dale. I'm sure your tolerance is a bit higher than mine. Um, yeah, I've
Well,
been trying.
I told you a story about Jerry Danzig, the Dartmouth alumnus.
No.
Okay, well he graduated the year before me. He lived in New York, and he would come up and bring the best New York weed to Dartmouth, and so every time he came up, everybody, oh, Danzig's here, let's go party, and so anyway, we were smoking a joint with him one time, about the four of us, and I started coughing, and then I was famous for my cough, and actually, it turned out my best friend in the program was named Randy Cough, but that's another story. So, but anyway, so Danzig looks at me and he says, "I've never seen anybody coughs as much as Dale, but then again, I've never seen anybody who can smoke as much as Dale."
Yeah, my heavy smoking days are in the past. I definitely when I was actually cultivating in Oklahoma, we went hard. We coffee pot in the morning and dabs for dinner and joints in between, and it was like there was times where I was like, wait, am I high right now? And I'd think about it for a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I'm a little high right now. It was, but I was just like constant, and part of that was the culture and just the fact that I was hanging out with growers and
Right.
well, and cultivators and processors all the time. But yeah, it was good. I think part of it also was just numbing out the reality of Oklahoma. It was not the place for me. A lot of people,
Right.
did, but not me. So
Well, you know, I I'm sort of adopted a routine of I woke and toke, which is my answer to wake and bake. So if you want to like start circulating that, people, it could be big as 420 soon. But yeah, I woke and toke, and then I go out for breakfast, but I very rarely smoke like two joints in a row, or within 30 minutes without like going out and like doing something and really being productive. So then that's how I feel about it. But no, for a long time when I was especially when I was at Fairleigh, I was going through an eighth a day, and at Dartmouth, probably a half ounce a day.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good amount. That's a good amount. Dang, yeah, heavyweight Dale over here getting it. No,
But
I'm probably
that's why I train with Mike Tyson, Iron Mike pre rolls.
I'm less than an ounce a month at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, I've scaled way back. Yeah, I can usually get a joint to last me 2 days. Not always, but most of the time. So I don't know. It was just problematic for me. And I'd have withdrawal symptoms, and if I didn't smoke, and I didn't enjoy that. It just felt like I was on a plane to Hawaii in the middle of all that, and between leaving for the airport, going through security, and all that, and then landing, and then we didn't get supply right away. But even on the plane itself, I don't usually. I'm kind of cold on planes, like I'm a little chilly. But I just couldn't stop shivering. It was it was the worst. So that was probably my first big wake up call that I wanted a little different lifestyle than that. But travel makes things a little tricky sometimes.
Well, 17-year tolerant break taught me a lot, and and that, and I say actually, what happened was the Dale supply, the Dale supply I came to Earth, the Dialina supply I came to Earth for eternity ran out in 37 years. So basically, I had to take off 17 years so the whole omniverse could regrow a crop. And I also wanted to say something. When uh, having your ladies and really thinking of like the cannabis as a lady and as a personality and really like just sort of like I know people talk about this with plant medicine all the time. I never did plant medicine, but I am I'm a THC expert. But just like having names of plants that you grew and knowing that that you put your personal care and concern into those plants, I think slows down the process of like just mindless smoking.
that's that's my hope for sure. Because I do believe there's a lot of power in it. To your point, like, but yeah, I can certainly remember a time where there was no, it was mindless, and it was just oh, it's fun to be high and whatever, and that's all valid, it's true, but if you're using it as a crutch or you never really get, I don't know, there is a way to use it where it can help you tap into higher processing and get downloads. The key is integration, right? Because if it comes into your mind when you're high, you don't write it down or do something with it. Usually, it kind of drifts off too. You forget it pretty quickly. So it's good to have your phone, like a voice note or maybe a little notebook, just in case you get a good idea while you're on a ride. And I think that's a good way to kind of use the substance to keep moving forward.
Well, another thing that's very helpful for people, underestimate, I think, is helping you become aware of your thoughts so that if you're having negative thoughts, you can stop them. You can monitor them and like tweak them and turn them into something positive, you know? And, especially now that Fred is dead, there's nothing to worry about. I mean, there was something that came up to get today with the government agency and everything, and did the best I could, and then I just said, the person that was helping me said, let's leave it to tomorrow. I said, okay, no Fred, no, no Fred line, no
I like
deadline.
this. I like this carefree do we got here. It's very refreshing. It makes me happy for sure. Oh, we haven't even showed off our awesome shirts yet. Who thinks Dale has the better shirt or I have the better shirt? He's going back vintage before the towers fell, and
Let me get off my chair. And I can, so it's the Subway World Series of 2000, the year before the towers came down, and Jeter and Piazza were fighting it out for the control of New York. The Battle of New York, and you got Mets, Yankees, Statue of Liberty, everything you need. This is like I got two favorite T-shirts. This is one of them, and the other one is it just says keep calm and let Dale handle it. And I didn't I didn't custom make that shirt. It just was like on the market. So it was like I saw that I gotta get that,
Yeah, you gotta get that. That's like you.
That's a
Yeah,
synchronicity that's beyond weird.
indeed. Yeah, I was gonna. Oh, can I tell my synchronistic story? I've been saving this one for the podcast, and maybe it's time.
Okay.
All right, so we're going back to ski season this year, and I was traveling there with my buddy Brian. We were gonna hit Keystone, and on the drive there, we were having this awesome conversation about sort of the nature of reality and the universe and how to navigate. And it was a really beautiful conversation. I kind of didn't really expect it, but he we got there and he's like, man, it feels like we just had therapy. And I'm like, well, it's a version of it. But I was, one of the things I was telling him is, it's important to remain in the positive state when weird things happen or things that seem bad happen. You can stay curious and be like, okay, well, how is this going to play out? And so we had done a few runs in the morning, and we were pondering getting some lunch. So we started heading to the car, and I was telling him, like, I was literally telling him as we were walking to the car how important it was to stay in that state. And then I reach into my pocket, and it was unzipped, which is I never leave it unzipped, and B, it was empty, and I just my heart sunk. But I remembered that morning when I was changing my gear, I realized that my other car key forgotten to take it out of my pocket last time I walked the dog or whatever. So I had both keys, and I just stashed the other key in the back of the car. So I knew if we could get in the car, we could at least get home, because that was the biggest thing: is how are we going to get home? I mean, even if we got in the car, and we didn't have a key, we're not going to get home. So it's going to be a locksmith and a key and all this, right? And it just sounded like that was going to be a lot. Exactly, lots of money. So I remained in the positive state. I'm like, well, let's just go look on a couple of the runs. There was one that I fell on that morning. I'm like, let's at least go down that one. And there was another with moguls and all bumpy. And so I'm like, let's go down those two runs and I kind of remember my line through there, and might be able to get lucky. Well, we did that and didn't find them. And then we went down to guest services, and mentioned that we might need a locksmith, and she's, oh well, we have a service here in the resort. We'll let you into your car for free. So that was win number one. We were going to be able to get in without having to spend any money. So we got in, we got the key, we had our lunch, and while we were down in the parking lot having our lunch, another woman came by and was chatting with us. She had seen this woman let us into our car. She's like, "What was that?" And we told her about the free service, and she was like, "Oh, I didn't know they did that." And then we wrapped up lunch, and we were heading back up to go do some more boarding, and we got in line for the gondola, and there was a woman and her young son in front of us, like a little toddler, and he was just trotting along, but he wasn't moving particularly fast. And I started to feel myself get a little impatient, and I'm like, relax. It's not gonna matter if it takes us another 30 seconds to get to the gondola. And and right before the gondola kind of left to go up, another woman got in with us, and it was the woman from the parking lot. And so we were. She's like, "Oh, you're the guys. You're the guys who got your keys locked in." I'm like, "Yeah." And so we started telling our stories about the things we had lost and the things we had found over the years, and we started approaching the end. And she kind of paused, and she was like, "I have a feeling you're gonna find your key, but you have to believe." And I just got chills all over my body. I'm like, that's what I wanted to hear. And my buddy Brian was like, "Dude, that woman. She was vibing for sure." I'm like, "Yeah, I was there. I know." And so we did a few more runs, and I was kind of keeping my eye out for it, but nothing had turned up. And my buddy's ankle started getting a little sore, so we were pondering leaving. But he's like, we can do one more. I want to do that groomer one more time." And I was like, okay. So we went up and did the one that I had fallen on earlier in the morning, and we got down to about the spot where I fell, and I just happened to see a little black speck in the snow, and I stopped, and so it was about 20 feet above me, and I'm like, I think I see my key, and he came behind me and reached down and like pulled it up. It was like, and it was my key, like on this huge mountain, and I just screamed out for joy, and it was a pretty epic moment. And when you it's one thing to talk about staying in the positive state, but it's something to actually do it and then see
Right.
the fruit of it, and to be able to share that with a close friend was like a really powerful moment, and I probably won't forget that anytime soon. It was epic.
It was, and yeah, definitely. Just well, motto of genius is everything. Everything works out for the best of all involved. So, but so anyway, speaking of which, is how does the death of Fred work out for the best of all involved? Uh, excuse me. Now, if you go back to 1947 and you think about the end of the World War II, there was Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and there was the big ceremony, and Germany fell, and apparently we thought the Nazis fell, but actually what was going on was the creation of a gigantic counterforce that I call Muck. And basically, Muck was like all the negative vibrations, and not only vibrations, but also the vibrations and the uh, disgusting thoughts and actions that all creatures do, that's against the law of the universe. So that's basically what mucks do. They act against the law of the universe, or of the omniverse. So basically, Fred came in 1947, and everybody was like so happy with their victory and everything that they didn't see the the veil of the darkness of the warlord descending upon the world. And so Fred arrived in 1947, and he was basically going to fulfill Hitler's prophecy. Well, well, he was he was Dale's instrument because even though Dale came 8 years after him, Dale retroactively creates. So he was Dale's answer to the mark, to the beast and the revelations. Uh, so Dale arrived in 55, and um, well, I should say that basically the Nagasaki killed Dale. That's why Warlord could get a foothold in the first place, because Dale, the only way you can kill Dale is to knock him is to knock him out with something that he just doesn't anticipate you didn't know exists. So basically, nuclear weapons like knocked out Dale. So then Dale was born in 55. Dale was killed again, the first American service casualty in Vietnam in 1957. And then Fred came in and financed Vietnam. He was a payroll clerk in Vietnam, so he financed Vietnam to cover the flank of the Dale who died in 1957. So basically, Dale progressed from was it obviously the serviceman who died in 57 wasn't Dale the baby. So Dale progressed for 20 years, and then uh, he uh, he got taken away from Dartmouth, and uh, this began a 50-year battle, 50-year battle with Muck. I call it my lunatic period. And basically, it was like psychotic wars and fight to the death, Muck versus Duck. And the death of Fred signifies the end of the war of Duck versus Muck, because they always used to say it's the never-ending saga of Duck versus Muck, but that's only in Earth time, because actually the saga has ended and Muck is out of the picture forever. So that means we're back to Duck Wars. And what does Duck Wars mean? Duck Wars means, uh, well, first off, Duck Wars no longer exist. Wars no longer exist because Fred is gone. Fred is the keeper of the eternal M16 who couldn't quit pulling the trigger. So war is gone. So now we just have like the we get back to the primordial duality of Earth, or the trinity of Earth of the ducks, where we have Huey, Dale's best friend and roommate from Exeter. We have Donald, who inherited the mantle from Huey's father, who died back in the 80s. And then we have Dewey. So basically, you every day you are given a choice of three options about how you're going to go through the day. Are you going to go through Huey, um, which basically is everything that's not Donald? So, are you going to do it through Huey, Donald? Are you going to just go Dale to Dale and relax and do the Dewey thing? So,
Well, I have been wondering what you do now that the wars are over, because it seemed like that was something that you spent a good amount of your time and energy thinking about or focusing on.
Exactly, and that's why my mind is finally liberated for genius, because all that concern was Fred through the last 70 years. No one has lived under Fred, has lived without Fred since the 1920s, Andrew. So no one living on this earth now no remembers what life before Fred was like. So therefore, it just what am I doing? I'm enjoying I'm enjoying the 90% of my brain that was kidnapped by Fred.
That sounds good. Yeah, freedom and liberation, and also like just letting go of all that energy, or that it needs to. There's this battle that we need to fight. It does feel like now we can redirect that, and that should free up a lot of resources to do bigger and better things. And I'm excited to see what's possible when we're not wasting all of our time and energy on the muck.
Fred.
Yeah,
And let me say, the 8 inches of genius I talk about,
yeah.
that 8 inches of genius was built from the amalgamation of every piece of muck that has ever existed in the omniverse. So basically, the 8 inches of genius is Fred, but it's inside the Dialina now forever. So it can't escape anymore.
Okay, good, good. All right. Well, what else we covering today? I don't know. Is it getting time to wrap up here? I think it might
Uh,
be.
I think it's just about perfect time to wrap up. Is that we're at 42 minutes? Let me uh, let me summarize with one more poem. Let me see if I got something here. Um, let me. Um. Okay. Well, just talking. So basically, Fred Dale has become Dale, but Dale is still basically in convalescence from his death battle with Fred. So Dale is you know Dale came back to Hackensack to take on Fred because he knew he was ready. So um so Dale is sort of like in hiding, not hiding, in seclusion. But here's something about him. Dale was the chipmunk that roared in his field across the street from where the doctor lived, which now has been subsumed by high rises, but what was just their mansion was a secret spot of him, with a voice that echoed across the bits of summit over the valley of Lower Hackensack, where Black Skip resides, and he spent many hours in communion with nature there, smoking nature and chronicling the progression of his therapy, often before he was assigned to the rubber room, which was a bridge of his starliner, the Dialina, where he met with many other fugitive Dusney, some of whom were snatched from the street just to be confined, for their own safety in difficult times of world violence, when the earth was verging on edge of endless chaos, which was arrested only by his detainment during the decade-long crisis era of the psychotic episodes, although in fact the nurses never disputed sanity he brought to the mental unit, where he'd eat well with fellow inmates fighting designs of mind bullies.
You were bringing sanity, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
The patients have taken over all the units.
Yeah. This feels like the asylum sometimes, but I know it's not. I know it's not. Whew. Okay. What do you think, brother? Have we reached Dale today?
I think we did, yeah. I think not only did we reach Dale, we reached Dale beyond Fred.
Okay. Even better.
We
Excellent.
we we reached two Dales. So um and just want to send out a kiss to my Velvet Empress Rose, and yeah, I think my Calendly's working again. It's www.calendly.com slash Dale Coach 55. And I'm also working on a new Gmail account. So that's a do author DWAUTHOR 25 at gmail.com. So but Andrew, is ever a pleasure. I think we're getting some flow into this thing now. We don't have to be in outer space all the time anymore.
Yeah. We can be on Earth sometimes. That's not all bad.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So any final comments or just good night and God bless.
Yeah, I think so. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Much love, and you know, continue conspire amongst yourselves.
And keep spread the conspiracy, spread the progressive life conspiracy. It's taking over everything.
Exactly. There we are. Yes.
Okay, have a good night.
Peace.